So I've only been doing this for a little over 2 weeks of every day, creating a spontaneous improv video with the intention of self-reflection, just seeing myself under a magnifying glass, under a spotlight with the pressure that I have this awareness that other people could view it. So I'm revealing myself, and also in looking back, watching the video as I don't edit it because I want it to just be raw and unedited. And my intention is to do this for a month and to be able to observe myself, scrutinize myself, and see the elements, the behaviors, the traits, the characteristics that I don't like, and to kind of weed them out or address them, get to the root of them, figure out what is the cause. And I had already seen this kind of performativity, which I see in gay men, which I think is a kind of masking, which is a kind of coping mechanism and a behavior that is quite unappealing, actually. And this is one topic that I'm interested in getting to the root of as a gay man living in this world that has a lot of many issues, but that is one that is personal to me in trying to have the thing that most everybody wants, which is romantic relationships and partnerships and creating something with somebody else. And with heterosexual couples, obviously the default is making a child, and with gay couples, it can be something else. It can be a business, it can be art, it can be humanitarian effort, whatever. It still can be this creative thing. However, there is so much dysfunction in a lot of gay men, and I'm not excluded from that. I have my own dysfunction that I very much want to work on and heal, with also the intention of helping other people, to heal. So that's one topic. And there's many topics that I am interested in. I have quite a variety of interests. And another one is how to address this changing world that is happening, that is kind of seems to be imposed upon us. It doesn't seem like the average person is being consulted as to the way that the world is run. It seems like there's a handful of ultra powerful people that are dictating. And I don't think that's a new thing. I think that's been going on for a long time. However, their ability to control and manipulate and influence has been growing and growing and growing. They've been working on this for a long time. At the same time, humanity has the possibility of waking up. So technology is a double-edged sword. So it's brought us things like the internet, which has allowed all sorts of education and opportunity, and really everything is now available, but it's a massive sea of information, and the average person is drowning in it. And the orchestrators have figured out how to co-opt the minds of people and just keep them distracted, and they're using technology to further enslave people. So I want to do what I can while I'm alive to work on myself and contribute to the world. And I had this idea inspired by study of my own astrology, realizing that there's this part of me that really wants to expose myself, really wants to, I mean, from like this spectrum of exposure, and to be able to be seen for the my realness, what is real and authentic to me. And a lot of that, I feel, it's been kept internal because of trauma, of conditioning, of the chain of pain that we all grow up in, and the systemic traumatization. So something that I think is really interesting and valuable is is self-reflection, is self-study, is meditation, is different practices where we can kind of reclaim our power that would oppose these groups of people that want to enslave or continue to want to enslave humanity and oppose what could be an awakening of humanity. We have an opportunity to create a world that is far better, whether it be clean technologies, things that liberate people from doing repetitive menial tasks, and tap into higher functions of the human being, spiritual, artistic, creative, and intellectual as well, and even our bodies, because so many people are in sick bodies, and they seem not to know, or I think what's even more important, care about being healthy. And I have been there myself when, with chronic depression that has gone on for long periods, it ends up really ruining your health. And so I think there needs to be a multifaceted approach to all of this. We do need to start with ourselves, but at the same time, we can be doing things in the world, and I think that goes hand in hand. There's self and there's relationship, and that goes hand in hand. So again, this video is not meant to be instructional either. It is just kind of me testing out these feelings and thoughts that I have. At the end of this month, I intend to create something, some content that is more specifically for other people, instead of like a self-reflection exercise. This exercise is just helping me clarify what the work that I want to do on myself, and also kind of practicing this public revealing of my truth and my experience and my rawness, because I think that's important for who I am. I'm not interested in a contrived presentation. I want it to be real. I want it to be relatable because of its depth, because of its authenticity. So I will continue to reveal that. I'll continue to reveal my angst and my pain, and also point out what I'm doing with it and how I choose to address it and work through it. And because I see my pain is not just my pain. There's other people that can relate to it. I think there's a lot of people that can relate to it, and there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world right now. And yeah, I'm a highly compassionate person, and I think I want my reach to be further than just the kind of one-to-one work that I've done in the past, because I think I have an ability to see a bigger picture and see a vision and see a way out, a way forward. And there's so much confusion, there's so much distraction that we do need to focus, and we do need to cooperate, and we do need to come up with strategies. And I am very interested in finding strategies and finding practical solutions to things. So something that is coming up for me is that I'm recognizing that I have used belongings and things to give me a sense of security. For example, I have many books, and I love them. I love everything about them. I love the tactile quality of books, of old books, the smell, the story behind them, and then the content. I have books with very fascinating content. However, moving is always a bit of a hassle. And not just the books, but moving a lot of books it's always heavy, and then there's the concern of keeping them in good condition, and I can't just store them in a garage. I know they'll books are somewhat fragile, especially older books, so you don't want them to get damp, so they need to be kind of cared for, and this burdens me. This burdens me, the preciousness of these books. And then I have lots of nice furniture. I have 2 couches. I don't need 2 couches, but I like having a place that's nicely furnished, and I feel comfortable there. I've realized it's kind of a retreat from the world, right? It's a little cave. It's a womb to keep me safe. But why do I not feel safe? Why do I feel that I've got to hunker down and have a cave? Well, it's because I have a belief that the world is unsafe. And yes, the world is unsafe. However, I have resources within me that can, in each moment, address the situation. For example, with books, if I feel like I need some information, there are books everywhere, and I can order a book online. I can probably order every book that I have online. There's probably a copy somewhere that I could get. And instead of having hoarding these books, somebody else could be reading them. I've removed them from circulation. Books should have a life where they're moving around and people are getting access to the information. But also, we have so many digitized books. We have so many books online. There's no shortage. And this is something that's important too. This kind of shortage consciousness is grasping. And I think this is a kind of compensation. This is kind of a coping method because of trauma, because of shortage that has been artificially created. There is actually no shortage in the world. There is tremendous abundance. In fact, we have so much that we're filling up landfills, despite all the burning, despite all the natural process of destruction that occurs. But we have neighborhoods, we have countries, we have vast areas of garbage and ruin, and we've really just wasted so much. We can make all these things, but we can't deal with them. We can't recycle them properly. So something that is personal, but it's also a world problem is stuff, and it's becoming a burden, and it's an inversion where material things are ruling over our spirit and diminishing our spirit. We are meant to be alive, dynamic, and free. We're meant to be like animals in nature, or living as part of nature, where we move with the seasons, and we move with the food, and we're not damaging a place and destroying it. You know, and a herd of animals will graze, and then they'll move on, and then that area gets a chance to revive itself. So something in my own life, I want to be able to travel around and meet people and have adventures, and having stuff means I need to actually pay to keep it somewhere safe when I'm not there. I need to pay to have my apartment kept the way it is, with housing my stuff, keeping my stuff warm and dry, and that I have a place to come back to. Well, there are beautiful places all around the world. There are places in other countries where I could live more cheaply than I do now in Canada. Canada is a very expensive place. But why do I need to be here? I don't need to stay put. In my life, there's not a reason to stay in one place. And I realize I don't want to. I've only done it out of this kind of fear and this desire to hold on to a sense of security in what is known. But when I have traveled, I've felt much more alive and excited by what I'm seeing and experiencing each new moment. I'm in the moment. I'm not wondering what I should be doing with myself, or I'm not feeling burdened by the maintenance of my space, or there's the place that I've lived in now. It's beautiful, but I've been here for 4 years, and it gets to be a bit dreary to have the same walk around the same block and to see the same sights. And I can be interested in my own things, but it's also nice to be in a place that is stimulating and interesting. And I'm more inspired than to talk to people and meet people. Whereas in my hometown, I feel like I just want to mostly be at home. And so that sanctuary and that cave has also become a bit of a trap. I think that we can, in the future, have more cooperation and more sharing, so that the cost of maintaining a home and a place to rest, and a place to eat and bathe and things like that, it doesn't need to take so much of our energy, right? It's much more difficult to be single financially than it is to be a couple. And maybe in the future we find that we're living with more people. I've lived in a couple situations with many people, and in all of those situations, we got to share a much bigger space, and a space that had a much more dynamic environment. There's more variety, and because there's more of us, we're kind of sharing the burden. I think this is much more conducive to human well-being. Yes, it's not easy and there's challenges to it, but I think that part of that is that culture needs to develop within that brings people together, that unites them, and also it's an opportunity for healing and growth of individuals, of creative expression, and sharing and love and purpose. So we've all been very isolated in our own little boxes, and I think some of that may be by design, or it's just this learning process that we're going through. Anyways, I think that we need to revisit some past systems, some more kind of indigenous, more ancient cultures, and glean some wisdom from those, and re-implement them. Everything is kind of dissolving. Everything's kind of falling apart. That there's been, 20th century has kind of done that, deconstructed, kind of postmodern mindset that has really dissolved a lot of the foundations that we had. And now all we have is this like kind of matrix of technology. And I think that's very bad. That's not good. Technology, cool. I like technology, but we need to be very conscientious about it, not lose the human heart. We need to make sure that we are bringing with us those things that are intrinsically human, that are important to us, and so that they're not lost. Because the technology is so powerful that it has the potential to just pave over the past and rewrite the past. And then the future generations won't even know what they're missing. So, our human lifespan is quite short, and the orchestrators of evil, they are all about legacies and dynasties and long spans of time. So they are patient, and they know that generations die out and forget things, and they've been counting on that and utilizing that. So we need to make an effort for the future generations, that we don't lose these things, that we don't lose what's important about being human and our connection with nature. And I think also the people that are alive today, such as myself, such as other people that care and feel spiritually guided, that this is part of our purpose, this is part of our aliveness. And it does mean overcoming the trauma that has been visited upon us, the trauma that we've received from our ancestors, the ancestral trauma, the cultural trauma, and we can do that. We can overcome it, and we can heal from it. But we need to cooperate. We need to tap into these inner resources. And we need to be kind of willing to shed some of the encumbrances that weigh us down. And that won't be easy, but if we cooperate, I believe it will be easier. and it will be more satisfying. It actually will come back to this place of richer living. So this video seems like a lecture, but it's kind of for me, in just my ability to do this, to express the insights that I have, and put myself out there in this way. And I've wanted to do it for a long time. I've felt like it's something that I could do, but there's also the kind of the encumbrances, and so I need to shrug off some of those encumbrances as well. I carry a lot of heaviness and baggage with me, and so that has stopped me. But I realize like that is actually part of my gift. Part of the gifts that I have is in turning these kind of encumbrances and baggage and wounds into the buried treasure that they are. Because all of these experiences, when brought to light, increase our wisdom. They are part of our lived experience and our knowledge base. They just need. It's just like those books that are just on the shelf and not being read. They need to be opened and read, and the light of our consciousness upon them. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I have about 2 more weeks of doing this before I actually launch something that is of a different intent. And maybe I'll still do this one of just kind of rawness, because I think it's good for me. It's good to just have that flow. It is similar to Julia something or other, The Artist's Way, practice of just free writing and just getting it out and bypassing judgment. And that's something that we need to do. We need to be not stopped by our fear, not stopped by our judgment, our concern. Have a practice of just letting that out, and inevitably we find some gems in that. Okay, thank you for watching.